What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to take a look at an Apocalypse double feature. Two games with Apocalypse on the current patch, and Apocalypse is really good on the current patch. And it's kind of an interesting hero. If you take a look at the data on sbbtracker.com, it is not the best hero in terms of average placement, but it is the best hero, at least at the time of recording, in terms of first place finishes. So you might not always do super well with Apocalypse if you never get to 6, or you get to level 6 and you just don't get anything good. But if you do, it is very easy to turn that into something that wins the lobby. And I brought this up in my patch notes when we were looking at the change from Burning Tree from a 5 to a 6. It's just going to make it so much easier to move into trees as Apocalypse. So as long as you can play reasonably up till that point, once you hit level 6, there's just a lot of really good payoffs and a lot of really strong stuff that you can put together. So we're going to take a look at two different Apocalypse games in this video, and this one's starting off pretty strong. We're still at 41 health, so I mean, not too upset with that. And then we've got an Ogre Princess and a Lucky, both to help us build a little bit of econ. Do think we're going to wind up losing this one, but we do get the Ogre Princess Slay, so we'll have a free prized pig. That's a little bit more econ, kind of nice. Speaking of econ, we see a spinning wheel here as a treasure option. I wind up going for the crown, and then we complete the treasure off Cindy. That's when I get the spinning wheel, and we also spun into a Turkish Delight off of the Genie's Wish. So doing pretty well, pretty lucky already at this point in the game. I'm going to sell off Cindy to pick up this cheap Shadow Assassin as well, because we're probably going to continue to slay with this Ogre Princess now that we've invested into the Good Witch as well. This combat's going to be a little bit tricky. We are up against a Humpty Dumpty, but we get to take down the Fates' Humpty Dumpty and make it out of there with a prized pig. So really strong stuff, and we're just going to continue to try to be as strong as possible here. I'll take an Awakened Princess, and then we will cast a Merlin's Test on it to turn it into a 12/12. This gives us a pretty strong board for right now, and then I'm also looking if there's a way to throw in Nutcracker, and there is. If I sell off this Golden Chicken and a few things on my bench, I think that Nutcracker plus Fairy Godmother is really strong, and we just have so much econ right now from the spinning wheel and the prize pig and everything else going on that we're really able to just do some really powerful stuff this game. 36 health APOC, up in XP, and just overall kind of crushing it, to be totally honest. So we're going to pick up a Friendly Spirit here and take out the Ogre Princess, and then we see another Friendly Spirit, and I'm going to want to grab that too. Basically, the goal is to just keep on being as strong as we possibly can at every point here in the game, and I'll probably just throw this magic research on one of these Friendly Spirits. I did also just notice that we picked up a Polywoggle off the Ogre Princess. I guess throwing it on the Nutcracker too is also somewhat reasonable, just to try to grab that treasure before we go off with APOC. But yeah, the Friendly Spirit pickups are going to make us pretty strong for right now. And we're going to get really close. I think that we will wind up getting this Nutcracker, so that's really nice. And then we also have our prized pig. Oh no, the prized pig does die. Okay, that was a really close combat with that Sherwood Sure Shot on 1 health. This is a really interesting treasure choice here, and Horn of Olympus gives us some board right now. And it's also kind of interesting with APOC. You know, with APOC, you're always going to want to play trees, and trees use some supports, and then also APOC has the potential to get Gumblegore and Green Knight. So horn, I think can actually work pretty well with APOC. So I wound up picking that up here, and then I also just grab a Coin of Sharon off tripling the friendly spirit. So a scaling treasure, not exactly what you want with APOC, but it is just going to continue to make us stronger here. And Coin of Sharon is actually a combat treasure if you are using it to buff up a friendly spirit, because then it will make that trigger just give +4 or +8/+8 more, because the friendly spirit gives double now that it is upgraded. So that's going to work out pretty well for us. We're still really strong, but we're facing up against the lobby leader this turn, a 36 health Geppetto. We'll see how that goes. Basically just rolling for XP at this point, and we do find it kind of awkward this game that we have to cast this XP like right now. We could have, like, we don't want to lock it for 2 turns, but then it's also a wish upon a star. So just kind of awkward that we might not be able to sell all of our things as APOC and then rebuy the board. But hey, if we can hit 6 next turn, that is going to be pretty good. But I think that we just got lucky in terms of what we rolled into and what we were able to put together. Just tried to make the strongest board at every point on tier 4. And then once we moved into tier 5, was really rolling pretty aggressively, just trying to find that XP, and we were able to find that and make this work here. We're obviously going to crush this Geppetto, and then we'll have a new board to figure out some puzzles with. So we'll take a look at that now. We are not going to have any supports, so our Horn of Olympus, kind of awkward. Oh wait, we've got a Green Knight. I totally missed that, sorry. So Green Knight's cool. We don't have any trees though. Well, okay, that's a lie too. We've got the Echo Wood, but we need to find Ashwood Elm and Burning Tree, or we could hang out here for a little bit, though then we find the Burning Tree. But one of the other routes that we could go, we've got the Good Boy, we've got the Hercules, we've got a pair of Echo Woods. It doesn't necessarily have to be trees. We could potentially move into just a good comp and see where that takes us, but we are going to wind up trying to move into trees just because we're so far ahead of the rest of the lobby, 3 XP up, and we have already got 2 Echo Woods, so that definitely pushes us in the direction, plus the Burning Tree that is in this shop here for us. So we'll grab the Burning Tree, now just looking for Ashwood Elm, and then we've basically got the full comp sorted here. I also do like the Heartwood Elder, because we have the Horn of Olympus. So I'm going to stop down and pick up that and just roll and find another Echo Wood here. I have to back up here because I actually forgot that I did this. You can see me kind of gesturing with my mouse there, but we are going to use Coin of Sharon plus Good Boy to now make it so that Hercules is going to get the buff and be able to activate this turn, which is just going to be really, really good for us. We're still strong enough. We did grow the Good Boy, which we aren't really going to need, but then we get to take a Phoenix Feather, and that's pretty good. We'll also grab another tier 6 treasure with this Echo Wood, and from here we could go Spear of Achilles. We could try out this Good Boy side of things. However, I think we can make Wand of Weirding work here too and do some nice things with that. So gonna wind up picking up Wand of Weirding, and then we'll pick up another Burning Tree and throw that one in. And I guess at this point I do want a Spinning Gold because we get to double cast it. So if we are able to win this combat, we'll walk away with a bunch of extra gold for next turn. I'm not exactly sure that we're still going to be strong enough to win, but we'll see what we are able to come up with here. We are playing up against an interesting copycat board, and honestly, it looks like our units might just be big enough that we get it done. Hercules soaking up a lot of what my opponent is doing here, so that is really nice, and we are actually going to get the win with the Phoenix Feather. So that is going to summon Echo Wood back, and then we'll have 6 extra gold this turn, and we're going to use that all to roll for some Ashwood Elms. We find one. I was going to say we could take the Masquerade Ball there, but definitely want to take this Ashwood Elm, and now we kind of want to get Ashwood Elm with the Coin of Sharon. and I'm not going to wind up picking up another Green Knight, but I will double cast this Toil and Trouble. That seems reasonable enough, and kind of awkward. I want Ashwood Elm to die first. I don't mind if the Burning Trees die first, though, too. And just want to make sure that I'm playing as strong of a board as we possibly can. And this board's looking pretty strong. My opponent able to summon a bunch of things here. Burning Tree going to get the Coin of Sharon buff, and yeah, we'll be big enough here with this Echo Wood plus the Phoenix Feather. I believe it's going to be a little bit close because my opponent also has these sheep, but I think that when we resummon the Echo Wood, yeah, that's going to be enough for us. So we take out Geppetto, and we're potentially almost on to the finals here. Not quite, though. Stone Skin on Ashwood Elm. Basically any spell double cast on Ashwood Elm is pretty good because it's going to mean that we just get double those stats. So we turn Stone Skin into Flourish, basically. And then I am going to wind up playing the Green Knight and cutting out the Robin Wood on this combat. I could see going either way, playing the ranged unit or just giving 10 more health to the Ashwood, but 10 more health to the Ashwood is plus 10 to both Burning Trees, so that's plus 20 to Echowood, and plus 40 to the backline Echowood. So we do kind of need to get those Echowoods to be a little bit bigger. They're not huge Echowoods at this point in the game. I don't even think that this game gets too crazy. The second game that I'm going to showcase, this is a double feature, is going to get a little bit bigger, but this one's pretty tame. This is just a strong APOC game that turns into like a reasonably strong trees game, and we definitely got pretty lucky. One thing that is interesting about APOC that I do want to talk about at least a little bit at some point during this video that I didn't really consider that much when I was taking a look at my patch notes. Oh, definitely want to cut the Heartwood Elder on the last turn. We could still play the Green Knight just for the plus 10, but I don't think we need the scaling at this point in the game. And I'm just going to play my ranged units because we're up against a Peter Pants and they could have a bunch of ranged units. So especially that Cupid there, it's going to be important to just have a bunch of ranged units for them. And we might actually lose this one because my opponent is just going to have more ranged units now. And yeah, okay, we walk away with a loss. So one thing that I want to address with APOC, looks like we still need to get a little bit bigger, right? One thing that I want to address, though, is the fact that, oh yeah, cool, we can double cast a Beauty's Influence here, and then we can sell two things. We're going to want to figure out what we are playing before we sell. We should probably just put the Robin Wood in, yeah, and then we'll grab onto this Burning Tree. Singing Sword, not super impressive at this point, but neither is Coin of Sharon really, so I'll just take it. Plus 15 attack, it could help us out. Basically, it's just a little bit riskier now to try to grab XP, and because of that, APOC does have these games where it just doesn't work at all. We wind up taking more damage there. We still need to grow a little bit. And that's why you see that APOC has either these first place finishes or these fourth place finishes. It doesn't always work out super well. Definitely taking Masquerade Ball here, a triple cast, getting to transform the whole thing into sixes is really cool. And then notably, we are going to be Mimic Phoenix Feathering this Echo Wood, which is pretty strong just in terms of all tier 6 treasures now. At this point, that is pretty common with Apocalypse, and we are going to be able to resummon our biggest unit, which is hopefully enough, but my opponent also has some obviously really big units too, so it's going to take a little bit of luck, but we've got more ranged units than my opponent, and that is going to be enough to take them out and get the win. So just to continue on the point that I was making a little bit, APOC could potentially struggle now because you're going to spend some gold picking up XP, and on level 5, everybody is going to be power spiking because everybody's going to be getting these really powerful units now, like Oni King, Robin Wood, Pigs, and you need to make sure that you're staying competitive with the rest of the lobby so that you don't just die. Because of that, I do like picking up Humpty Dumpty, and I'm going to support Humpty Dumpty here with Baby Root because I know that next turn I want to pick up Cindy plus Lonely Prince, and I think just playing another Humpty Dumpty is actually going to just be the strongest thing that we can do this turn. It would have meant that we lost the Humpty Dumpty if my opponent's stag had attacked, so a little bit awkward, but we are able to avoid that. I'll pick up Sherwood Sure Shot this turn instead, and I don't think I'm going to lock for Cinderella. I think I'm just going to not worry about Cindy, and again, just try to play as strong of a board as I can at every possible turn here. And we are just barely going to win this combat, and we get an extra gold from the baby bear, or share bear rather, and we're going to use that extra gold to True Love's Kiss a Romeo. Give us an Arthur. And Arthur isn't really what you're looking for on APOC. I know we played a little bit of scaling in the first game of this video, but Arthur is really just all scaling, so it's really not exactly what you're looking for. And because of that, we are going to wind up not super happy about the True Love's Kiss, but still in a really good spot here. Interestingly, I think my opponent stole the Frog Prince with the Gloves of Thieving. I don't think that they stole an Arthur, but that would have been kind of silly too. We do kind of wind up making some use of the Arthur. I'm going to roll again and lock onto a pair of Sherwood Sure Shots, and okay, we don't really want to focus on scaling, but if we can get a little bit of scaling going on that's going to make us a little bit stronger every turn, that could be good. And we're still really strong for right now. Definitely don't want to undersell the fact that we are a 45 health APOC, and that feels great. But we are going to wind up playing up against a pretty strong opponent here. Will they wind up cracking the egg? It's all going to come down to this donkey, and the donkey's going to get some nice summons. They are going to crack our egg and knock us down to 40 health. But 40 health, that's the starting health. I can live with that. Ring of Regeneration, kind of interesting. Just to, I mean, we're at full health right now, but just to continue to have a bunch of health is kind of fun. And for that reason, I'm going to wind up going for that here. And kind of a interesting board that we get to play. I'm going to play my upgraded Sherwood Sure Shot in the back line. That way that has a reasonable chance to attack twice. And I think next turn we'll be looking to add like Court Wizard onto this board, maybe some more additional princesses and other royals to go along with the potential Court Wizard pickup, and overall just feeling pretty strong. We also get this additional gold from Spinning Gold, so feeling pretty good. Don't think I want to pick up the River Wish Mermaid, but I will pick up the Juliet. I do really like that. And then I'm also just considering Fireball. If I'm going to cast Fireball, might as well pick up Cinderella, and then I roll one more time and have just enough gold to grab a Romeo. So we didn't find Court Wizard. That is the biggest thing that we're still looking for. But we did find Romeo plus Juliet, which is a huge power pickup. And then we've got the Ring of Regeneration putting us back up to 41 health and potentially working towards the Cindy treasure. I know that I'm going to want to cast 1 or 2 XP spells, so I don't mind picking up Cindy and potentially just completing that treasure along the way. I do think that Cindy is also nice in that she kind of encourages you to buy some spells like Fireball, and spells are always pretty good. So we'll wind up grabbing 2 more Romeos this turn, and I know I said spells are good, but I don't think I want to go quite all in into Crystal Ball, but I can get behind a Merlin's Hat. I especially like Merlin's Hat on APOC because it just lets you cast XP for free. So that can be pretty nice. And I talked about high tempo tier 5 units. We are going to wind up picking up one of them here. I mean, 9 C-Terror, it's just a 10-10. We aren't going to wind up picking up the pigs. I felt like there is reasonable time to make 9 C-Terror into a double. It's one of the better units on APOC because you actually can double it, so we'll see what we are able to do with that. And then a huge Juliet, I think, will be enough to win this one. No, not quite. I my opponent's going to win and get a Polywoggle Slay too. But down to 37 health, still leading the lobby. Can't feel too bad about that. Now we find the end, which is why I really like Merlin's hat, and I'm just going to end up picking up a River Wish Mermaid, so that way we can the end that and grab some additional health along the way. And then we find another the end, and that is going to be really good for us too. So this is kind of an interesting board because, again, we're finding XP. This time we can't cast it, but we're finding XP on 5.1. So we'll have to decide if we want to cast that next turn or if we just want to try to lock on to some things. We do end up taking a bunch of damage here from this combat. We don't clear any of my opponent's units barely. Down to 27, back up to 28, and we'll even gain some more health with the end. So honestly, things aren't going too bad. So the two options here are, one, cast the end this turn, which would activate Cindy and would then make us tier 6 next turn. Or what we can do is we can just buy some things right now and then next turn prepare to the end. And there's a few benefits to doing it this way. Basically, if we do it the other way, in so next turn we'll just have 12 gold. And basically we wind up hitting level 6 next turn either which way, right? But now if we do it this way, we're actually going to wind up with more than 12 gold this turn, and winds up being pretty good for us. We also get the Slay with Aeon, so we are going to wind up with a little bit more gold from that perspective as well. But yeah, this is just something good to know. This is basically how you always want to play APOC. We will end the Aeon just to gain a little bit more health, and we kept the Cindy because that is also going to give us a tier 2 treasure. And from there, I'm going to take Locked Chest. Maybe we can move into Hatball. Who am I kidding? We're playing trees. Look at this. So we wind up finding a bunch of trees here and doing some nice stuff with that. I'm just going to roll past the pumpkins at this point because we just have so many trees that I think that this is just what we want to do. And this is going to be a rather strong APOC game for us. Our tree's already in the 50s, so already pretty strong and able to do some nice battling. We are going to lose this combat again, but still at 18, thanks to all of our life gain that we've done so far this game. We gained 9 off of the ends, and then we probably gained like 4 or 5 off of the what's it called? Ring of Regeneration. So we wouldn't have quite been dead at this point had we not gained all the life, but it is definitely helping. Up against the Ghost this turn, so more than happy to try to activate Hercules, and like we saw last game, there's a lot of really good tier 6 treasures that we can make use of. And then we'll also be able to grab a tier 6 treasure from tripling the Green Knight and getting some nice value out of that. Playing up against a Puff Ghost, so they're going to be doing a little bit of scaling against us. Not going to be too big of an issue, though. We will still get the win, but that's always fun to see. I think that was the Wonder Waddle, too. They had the Gloves of Thieving. Our first treasure that we can grab is Mimic Chest. And if you've played Celestial Tiger, you'll know that Mimic Chest plus Locked Chest is actually a pretty cool combo. So I do want to have that set up for next turn. Basically, if we find a treasure map off the first half of the Locked Chest, yeah, why not? A little bit more life gain could never hurt. And I'm going to Stone Skin a Ashwood Elm here and then lock onto the Knighthood. And then I'm also going to throw a pumpkin in because we've got a bunch of tier 6 evil units in the front row, and I feel like we might need some help against this Horde Dragon. They are at 37 health atop the lobby, so definitely want to respect them. Unfortunately, our Hercules is going to get scammed, so we won't get a tier 6 treasure from that, and my opponent's going to be grabbing a tier 7 treasure themselves next turn, but Pumpkin is going to at least make sure that we're not dead right here. So that's pretty nice too, and we actually wind up getting the win. So if we were to get, we didn't, but if we were to get treasure map on the first one, we are going to see 2 tier 3 treasures. I'm basically just going to turn it all into gold, and it still winds up being pretty nice. It's a 4 gold treasure. It's wait 3 turns, then get 4 gold. That's reasonable. And yeah, we can kind of do some interesting kind of things with that. And I think that now that we're not playing up against the Horde Dragon, I do want to get some scaling back in onto this Ashwood Elm, and then I'm just going to roll for some more trees. We are going to get Herc next turn. That's going to be a tier 6 treasure that we'll have doubled up. Mimic Chest does not work with Pandora's Box, unfortunately. Maybe now that they have made Mimic Chest a tier 6 treasure, we can ask the devs to have it work with Pandora's Box. But we are going to get the win. We are going to get a doubled up tier 6 treasure here. And I'm going to go for Phoenix Feather again. We did this last game. It worked out pretty well. And if we do find some Echo Woods, we'll be able to resummon them and make them quite big. So that is the idea here. I'll also just pick up a lucky coin. Don't have anything else too crazy going on. We'll shard the Hercules to hopefully try to get it into a tree. But then we also get to take a Lancelot, which will immediately activate thanks to Green Knight. And that's pretty cool. From there, we will grab a Gloves of Thieving off the Mimic Chest. And this is a pretty cool combination of things that we get to do. So now we're stealing the first thing that we steal, we get to steal it twice. And that is really, really fantastic for us, especially when we get to steal an upgraded Ashwood Elm. So that is going to do a lot of work for us. A really, really good treasure. Actually, I think we are going to win this combat even so, and take Morgan out there. So that will add even more trees into the pool. We get to take advantage of Morgan's Excalibur, and not even have to worry about it ourselves. And then we get an Evil Eye off of the Lancelot. That is going to make all of our supports doubled up, which means now we have got some really, really large units at this point in the game. And we eventually find the Echo Wood. Not sure if we have enough space for it, but we'll pick it up. And I'm just going to wind up throwing in the Burning Tree. I do think that when we don't have to, I don't want to play the Green Knight. I just want to play all of the other sweet things. And then maybe on like the last combat of the game, we'll throw in the Green Knight instead of the Heartwood Elder, just to get a nice little final bump over the edge there. Or maybe we can triple another Burning Tree and just get more units in that way. But it's getting really tough now that we have stolen 2 Ashwood Elms to fit everything onto the board. That's why I tossed the Gloves of Thieving. As sweet as Gloves of Thieving Mimic Chest is, we were already out of room on this board, so I didn't really need any more units. I'll wind up feeding my other leftover Ashwood Elm to the Kraken, and just using that to get a few more rolls in. But yeah, this is good. We were strong enough and had enough health to survive the point in the game where people start to get really strong, and then we got really, really ridiculously strong ourselves. If anybody is ever able to battle through this Echo Wood, we will be able to resummon 2 copies of it as well. And you'll notice that I did put in the Green Knight and locked the Pigomorph, because as long as Horde Dragon takes out the other player, the Muerte, then I figured there were only 2 games left for the whole brawl. So basically when everybody was so low like that, it seemed like top 4 finals was in order. And for that, we don't really need too much more scaling. It could be good. I mean, the Evil Eye plus Mimic Chest means that Heartwood Elder is doing a lot of work, but it also means Green Knight is doing an insane amount of work. Plus, what is that? Like, I can't even do the math right now. It's given huge numbers to all of these Ashwood Elms, which means the Burning Trees are getting huge numbers and the Echo Woods are getting big numbers. And yeah, Echo Wood up in the thousands. It's definitely one of the biggest Echo Woods that I've had this patch, just because trees are a little bit harder to get into right now. Unless, of course, you're playing Apocalypse. Then it's really easy to get into trees and crush the lobby from there, and we are able to make short work of this Horde Dragon. So that is going to be it for me for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this double feature look at Apocalypse, and that is going to be it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.